Hi and welcome. How are you? I have to admit I've been a bit tongue-tied in the last couple of days, so my apologies if my words come out a little muddled up. But welcome to your tarot reading, and we're going to be doing a tarot reading for Saturn going direct in Capricorn, Capricorn being an Earth planet, so we've got a lot of talking about our lives, our physical lives, and how we're manifesting and planning long term in our physical lives. So that's something good to be thinking about. The other thing that's going to be happening is the Sun has already joined Libra, Venus, and Mars in the sign of Libra, which is a lovely planet about balance. So there's a lot of discussions going on about you in your relationships, and there'll be a lot of thinking about what that looks like. We've also got Pluto, who is coming out of the retrograde. And remember I spoke to you about that when planets come out of retrograde or when they are going into retrograde, when there's major movement, what we get is we get a lot of churn. So there's a lot of trigger points. And we have been having quite a few trigger points. So we might be having an emotional swing of the pendulum. Don't worry about that. That's all natural. And the only thing that's doing at the moment is making us double check our thoughts and our feelings, and particularly our learning from before about ourselves and how we are actively participating, engaging, and increasing the value and the reciprocal understandings within relationships. So that's all that this is. I've got, because it is about relationships and long terms, I've got the Botticelli, and that's not the card underneath. I'm about to do the shuffling. And I've also got the Good Tarot. So let's see what the messages are. Okay, so we've got our first, very nice, the Knight of Wands. So we're going to get some messages about ourselves in relationship to the rest of the world environment around us. Oh, and then we've got the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is getting joy. In this deck, it's about getting joy out of life. And that makes a lot of sense. I thought we had a card that had jumped, but we hadn't. Then we've got the Knave of Swords, which is some thinking. Oh, that's interesting. We've got the Hanged Man. And I just got the message, one more. And too many popped out, so I just need to focus for a little bit to harness the energy of the cards. All right, and just as I said that, we get the Five of Cups, or the Five of Chalices from Botticelli. Oh, and underneath that, we've got the Hermit. So the energy we're looking at today, or the advice that's coming through from the cards about what we should be thinking about, is our own counsel and going inside and being very clear about that. One of the messages I got last night when I was thinking about all of this was very clearly these statements about respond as opposed to react. And the difference, of course, is respond is when we've got a sense of control or a sense of responsiveness, which is measured and clearly understood, as opposed to react, which is a spontaneous reaction to something. And what I'm getting a strong message about, and very clearly this was stated, we need to be thinking about how we are responding and reacting within our relationships. And this is what the Hermit card is asking you to do. Have a little think about how we are going about our response and our reaction within our relationships. So what have we got coming up? We've got the, I'm just going to move my, yeah, that's better. I keep thinking you can see it, but you can't. I can see it, but it's my little control panel. So what have we got? We've got the Knight of Knaves, and this is Wands. So this is thinking of, this is new thinking and new ways of asking, perceiving and understanding the world around us. Followed by the 3, and you can see this lovely 3 of Pentacles, which is about getting an enjoyment and enjoying what we're doing, and being a lot lighter in ourselves about how we are living our life and responding to what goes on in the world. We've then got the Knight of Swords. Now look at this, stationary and stationary. So there's a bit of caution about this. So we're asking us to really consider and think before we respond. And I think that's very important because, as I said before, we've got these planets moving and we're going to have these triggers. And I also mentioned in the previous video, I've been having a lot of stuff which I thought was going to be quite simple, just not coming together at all, and other stuff which I thought was going to be a little bit difficult really coming into play. So I think what that's asking us to do is just be careful, because we're going to be emotionally triggered. These emotional triggers that we're going to have, it's got to do with movement of the planets, it's got to do with fast movement of energy. And just remember that the energy from the spirit world and the energy of the energetic world moves a lot faster than the physical plane. So something's going to hit us, but it might just hit us momentarily. And if we respond to it as opposed to react to it, it will pass quickly and it won't manifest on the physical plane. Very considered, these two. Very considered about our thoughts. Very considered about the way we are in the world. Look at this person. This is our thinking. Look how structured that is. Look where the sword is, the point is to the ground, nice and considered. And look at this one. It's almost like holding up the olive branch, but also not a great deal of movement and very considered. None of these have got aggressive poses. And this one is just dancing and light and angel wings. And I really love that. Now the other two that are coming in is the Hangman. Okay, so you know the Hangman is pause, take time. So what have we got? We've got 3 cards telling us to be very considered in our response to things. So don't be tempted when we get triggered to over emotionally react. The other thing I'm just going to tell you, because I have spoken about it before, but I'm getting a strong message to reiterate that, is that right now, because everyone is being very diplomatic, or most of us being very diplomatic, those people who seek control through acting out or basically being a little bit nasty or even a little bit catty and bitchy, and this is both males and females, you will see that in play. And they'll be a little if they think they can get to you. Don't bother. It's not important. Really, it's not important. It might hit you in the face when it happens, but it's not important. If it's no impact or no response for this in 6 months, then just ignore it. Okay, and the last one I think is really interesting is we've got the 5 cups. Now this is a very different view of the 5 of cups because all of the cups are upright, and this is choice. So this is kind of a different take on the 5 of cups. So what this 5 is asking you to do is to have strong consideration about the value and what you value, and to really think about the balancing out of all those different aspects of us that we're involved in that make us us. Yeah? So it's asking us to be quite balanced about how we go with that. All right. So the message here is slowly catch your monkey, which means basically slow and steady reads the race. Whichever way you want to go about it, be considered before you act. Let's just get some clarifiers. And this is the Good Tarot. All right. Nice. So we've got the 10 of Earth coming up. It's very beautiful, but the 10 is also an ending. We had a lot of this in the business, so part of what's coming up is there also something on the earthen plane. And this is probably interesting because Capricorn is Earth and Saturn also if you're going to think about any of the planets being quite earthly, then it's Saturn going into Capricorn. So maybe this is an opportunity for us to end something and start something new in terms of our life on this planet. Saturn is getting ready to end a major cycle and make some movement, so there's not happening there. Oof. Lots of tens, 10 of water. So again, it's another ending of a relationship because water is an emotional response or something we value. So again, this is saying something we value on this plane is about to end. Oof. Transformation. So that's the reason that we need to be quite considered. That's the reason why we're on hold. That's the reason we're being asked to think and take our time. And that's the other reason why we're being reminded to have a bit of fun. 10 of earth, 10 of water. Endings. Transformation. So we are definitely in a stage of transformation. And the cards are saying, don't be in a big rush. It's going to take some time to bring all of those changes that we made in the spiritual and the energetic plane. It's going to take some time to translate that into activities, actions, and life on the physical plane. Now, Capricorn is going to aid us to do that. The Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury and Mars all being in Libra, lovely, balanced diplomat, is going to enable us to do that. It's clearing the way for us to be able to have conversations about relationships that are meaningful with people who are important to us in a way that they can understand and comprehend. And remember, while we are thinking about us in the relationships, you and me in the relationships, one of the things that we're being asked to do is to think about our impact of our behaviour, our actions and our words on others who are in the relationships with us. So while the focus is on us, it's on the impact we have on other people. And that's where this change is going to happen. And I'll say it again, you want to change life on the outside, you have to change life on the inside first. And that's what we've been doing a great deal of. Beautiful. And we've got, I'm just thinking about, I was going to put that card up, and then they said no. So, and there's just one more that needs to come out. So let's just see what that is. Okay. I've had this come out a lot. I love this card. The Seven of Fire, the unicorn. You have to believe that not only can you make the change, but that you will be supported in the change. You have to believe unicorns exist if you're going to find the unicorn. So regardless of what you think your life is now, change is possible, and change for the better is possible. Okay. I was going to do, I'm going to leave the message there and leave it with you. You can always get in contact with me if you need a private reading or if you need some advice. The only thing I was also just going to quickly say to you is I was going to do a challenge, the chakra challenge, but it wasn't quite right and wasn't coming together. And I was being told not to start, not to do. I've just had the message and it's just become really clear what I'm going to do. We've got a lot of stuff triggering us. We're in a stage of a lot of change, both in our business and in our private life. So I'm going to do a 7-day challenge, but it's a 7-day strengthening challenge. So it's going to be 7 days of affirmation and some beautiful, beautiful oracle cards and messages. And that's going to help us move to the future and where we want to be. I'll just do them very nice, short and quick, and pop them on Facebook. Okay. Lovely to be with you. Respond. Don't react.